Hi, everyone. It's Action Hour, and I'm here today with Sabrina Andronica. And at 7 years old, believe it or not, she wrote her first screenplay with the help of her screenwriting dad. Later, she went on to win 2 times recognized by the Los Angeles Times in a kids' reading program to promote literacy before the age of 9. And now she is a 3 time author, children's books. The first one is called Adventure at Rainbow Bridge, Cruelty Free, The Way to Be, and Labrador Retriever with Blockhead. Those are the 3 books she's done so far, and they are amazing. Sabrina, thank you so much for being here today. I
Thank you
wanted
so
to ask
much.
you right off the bat, like you started writing when you were 7 years old. You wrote a screenplay. When did you discover your desire to help animals? At what age did you discover that? Or how did that come?
Um, I've always been an animal lover since I was a child, and I say this all the time because it's very true, and I think it's really impactful to hear that I was definitely one of those kids that asked questions about where our food came from and how did that meat get onto our plates. Um, and my parents thought they were trying to protect me, and they told me that the animal is already passed and we don't waste their body, and that's why we eat them. And I was okay with that, and that's why I continued eating chicken. And then later in my teens, I picked up on fish because fish is healthy for you. Da 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 da. And if I would have known the truth, um, I definitely would have never had chicken tenders and all the things, non-vegan kids have. Uh, and
So, how did you start writing books about helping animals?
well, because I remember when I became a vegetarian, I believe it was 20, I was 22, 23. I'm 31 now. Um, I said, wow, it's easier than I thought. And then I became vegan a few years later, and then I started picking up on the cruelty-free lifestyle. And I just wanted to show people that it's very easy to live a compassionate lifestyle. And I said, what better way to do that than, do it for children and teach them as young as possible. And the kids that asked the questions that I did, I want to help those children. So I said, what is a great portal to speak to them and teach them about compassion and awareness for animal activism and equality? I said, okay, let's do this. I'm going to pick up again my passion for writing and translate it into children's books. And I've always been into poetry. I've written several poems throughout my teen years, and so I make sure that all of my books rhyme. So then it's a memorable catch, phrase for the kids to remember. Certain lines will stick with them more if it rhymes, in my opinion.
That's brilliant. I mean, they could
Thank
go
you.
around singing it like a song. I mean, that's such a
Right.
great idea.
Thank you.
I don't have the first book teaser, but I do have Cruelty Free. Let's show that one,
Yeah.
and then you can talk a little bit. So I want to say that all of your books are available on Amazon as well as what other sites?
A lot of different websites actually: Barnes and Noble, Target, Walmart,
Wow.
eBay. Uh, might be missing, but those are the big ones.
Well, really,
That you,
pretty much can find it anywhere. Just Google the name, right? Your name, and
right,
it'll come up.
right.
And they
If you
can
just type in
also,
my name.
right, and they can also reach you. You can contact you through email if they like.
Yep.
So
Any
there's a lot.
business inquiries or any questions or anything like that, if you just want to personally write me.
That's amazing. Let's talk about this book a little bit. Tell us a little bit. First of all, the illustrations are amazing. Now, tell us the name of the illustrator. It was a little hard to pronounce. So,
Her name is Scalina. I've never really fully pronounced her name, to be honest, because when I converse with her back and forth, it's through email. So I just call her Lana.
oh,
And
wow. I like that.
people don't know that she and I have never talked via Zoom, Skype, FaceTime,
Wow.
anything. This has been like a pen pal relationship that we've had for the last 2 years, writing on our fourth book now together. And I found her just like looking through different illustrations on Instagram, and she caught my eye, and she's so seasoned, professional, and compassionate, and she has learned so much about animal activism, and she's never questioned anything that I have approached her with. She is always open to all of it. She's such a wonderful soul, and I'm so happy I found her, because yes, she really makes the books, in my opinion.
Well, I think you
Yeah.
both make the books, but let's show the
Thank you.
cover cruelty free. And
Yeah.
maybe you can talk a little bit, or even if you remember any of the lines you want to, I don't know. I
Yeah,
want to.
I think like probably my favorite line, luckily I have the book right here. So I think this one right here is really what gets kids, but friends like mine aren't always together and free. They test products on us and then throw away the key. Simple phrases like that. And
Yeah.
then not to worry, though, you don't have to support this reality. When shopping for school supplies and toiletries, look for fluffy old me. So it's a rabbit telling a story, and he's a lab rabbit. And he's
Wow.
telling the story of life in a laboratory. And these are all his other friends that I have yeah, that's a great group picture of everybody. I made sure to include the monkey, the cat, the dog, of course, the little beagle that's used the most, and a hairless guinea pig. So I try to get very, different kinds of animals and show that they're all friends, but they're treated very, very horribly in animal testing. And I
Oh,
had to make sure to tell it in a way that didn't destroy destroy them, but just to teach them, hey, this is happening, but there are ways to support a cruelty-free lifestyle very easily.
yeah, I was going to say that would be the most difficult thing. As
It
a
was.
graphic designer, I've thought about doing some posters and things for children. And I was like, that is the toughest part, to be able to tell the truth
Yeah.
without terrifying them. And
Right.
totally, I
Right.
mean, and then of course the parents wouldn't react very well to that. But
Right.
but this book is so cool because I saw in one of the things that you had sent me that you actually taught them to look on the package and find the cruelty-free label. What were their
Yeah.
reaction to all that? Tell us some of the experiences you had.
So I've had some absolutely, I was so worried going into this. I was like, okay, there's not a lot of books on the market for adults to shop cruelty free, let alone children. I said, okay, I got to tell this in a way where they're not going to attack me, where they're going to be like, you know what? I didn't even know this was still going on, which I've heard before. Especially dogs and cats. Oh my goodness. So I've had a lot more positive feedback than negative, which is very encouraging because it
Yes.
just gives me a lot of inspiration, makes me feel like I did good. But I think because I tell it in a way, the last reading I did was at the Helen Woodward Animal Center in San Diego, California. And the group that I was reading for, they were a lot younger than I thought they were going to be. They were around 6 to maybe, I think the oldest was 11. And it was like a summer camp, or actually a fall camp. And the questions that they kept asking the most was, oh my, why do they take out their vocal cords? When I told them that they take out the vocal cords of these dogs so they don't bark in the laboratories, but they have no voice. You need to be their voice in return. And I think the thing that really got to them is that they never get to see the sunshine or feel the grass beneath their feet. Just little things like this that you tell children, you share that with them, and they have dogs and cats at home or any other kind of animal. They hear this and then they just start to picture, oh my God, like we have to do something about it. So they like make it a game, looking for the rabbit on the back of a product. I made sure to go around and pass around a cruelty-free hairspray that I had so that they can see the rabbit on the bottom of it. I also said if it doesn't have a bunny, it might say not tested on animals. And then of course I introduced Beagle Freedom Project's cruelty-free cutter app. So they kind of partnered with me on this. And so I have their app in the back. So I tell children and their parents how to download it, free app. So just scan the barcode and it will tell you if it's cruelty free or not. So it's super fun because they get to go around stores and, scanning stuff.
That is amazing. That's brilliant. You are just brilliant. I think you're just 30. That's amazing. You just blow my mind.
Thank you so much.
Oh, no, seriously. So, what about Adventure at Rainbow Bridge? Tell us a little bit about that one.
Yeah, that one is a very dear book to me because it was a book that I wrote around the time of one of my French bulldogs passed away suddenly. And I just remember envisioning what I would want the Rainbow Bridge to be like. We all know the story and there's different versions of it. The original is by an unknown author. And I said, oh my God, I just saw it. And I said, that's my first book. And at the time I was actually struggling. I was supposed to be collaborating with a couple in Germany on my first book. And they kind of just double crossed me in the end. So I was going through a bad time of losing my dog. And then like, oh my God, my dreams are crushed. But I was like, I don't need them. I can do it myself. And so it kind of just all came together. And during the time
powered through it.
I did. And so I have him in it, and he's the little white French bulldog. His name is Little Jack in the story, but his real name's Yukon. So I have all the characters are either animals that have touched my life in some way. Their names, like there's a dog in there, Beagle, and her name is Nala. But Nala was a turkey that I connected with at the Gentle Barn. So I used different animals that touched my soul and I put them into the story and into the characters. And to make it more heartfelt.
Well, first of all, we have a question. I have so many questions from Tom and Sal. Thanks for watching, Tom. And I was going to ask you this. What age group would you say is the sweet spot for the books?
That's a good question, because when I was going into this, I was like, I'm going to make it all ages, but we know that there is a group of an age that it really will work for. I have to say the ones that I feel like it made the most impact on was from 8 to 12. And I know picture books and rhyme kind of books kind of end for a child around 9 or 10, and they go into chapter books. But I feel like with these stories, they're so adult-like that they're learning it in a way that's still innocent, but very impactful. But 6-year-olds have picked it up and really enjoyed it too, and really got it. But to really understand the books, I would say anywhere from 8 to like 10,
8 to 10.
Yeah.
But younger children, because we see a toddler or
I mean, he was probably too young to read it, but the parent, she's wonderful. She just wanted to support me. And so she's like, well, the minute he gets older, we're reading it to him. And he's older now. So she's read, she also bought Cruelty Free as a Way to Be Too. And I have a video of her reading that to him, or actually her husband is reading it to their son. So it's really cute.
I actually have a couple of very small, great niece and nephews that I think that are not vegan. Their parents are that I think would really appreciate these books, and I think I'm going to go ahead and get.
Oh my goodness! Thank you.
Seriously, I think it'd be great. I'd love to send it to them. It's kind of a little bit to the parents, a little
right. Right. I'm gonna work on a full vegan book. That's my fifth one. That's the plan. But I just wanted to touch pet loss being first because that is something that will, I mean, lack for a better word, never die. We're always going to lose our loved ones, and it's a really hard time. And I just wanted to help kids and families through that time. Cruelty free is the way to be. Hopefully, this book will be dated in the future, and it will be, hey, this used to be a barbaric thing that they did on animals. And
It's
then, of
certainly
course,
something to remember.
right. And then the third book that I don't think we've discussed yet, uh,
Right.
as far as breed discrimination, that's what it's really about. I always think, oh, it's getting better. It's people are, I just read so many things. I get reactions from people all the time. I have two rescue pit bulls. So it's still going on. And so I'm just touching subjects that really need to be addressed.
It's like when something comes out in the news, they make it seem like every pit bull is that way, but in
Right.
reality, it's such a small
It is.
percentage, and we don't know what
Absolutely.
that animal has been put through
Yes,
to react that
absolutely.
way.
And they have more interest if they hear it's a pit bull versus, oh, it's a German Shepherd, oh, it's a Golden Retriever. Once it's a pit bull, they feel like, oh, you can put that in the headline. And people rather read a headline than look at the dog right in front of you. I had that happen to me recently, and she was telling me all the stuff she's heard. I'm like, but look at her. She's the sweetest dog I've ever met. But luckily she's my ambassador when I go on readings and when we do author visits. So she's my ambassador dog, teaching children that pit bulls are absolutely wonderful and they can be great family dogs. So
And we can talk a little about the story.
yeah.
I love the idea, this whole idea of he wore a mask because people didn't accept him, so he wanted to look like a Labrador Retriever
Right,
so that he
right.
would be accepted. And that's such a great story. That's such a great lesson to teach children, about
Yes.
discrimination and
Yeah.
etc.
And
All
being
these
yourself.
being yourself and these
Yeah.
presuppositions people make on
Right.
appearance only. It's
Right. Or
teaching.
your background. Yeah.
It's just great.
Yeah. Thank you.
Maybe we should play the second one that I
Yes,
have
please. I'd
here.
love that.
It actually is the all of these messages are so important. And even as you said, that one, the mother that bought it to support you. I remember, believe it or not, from being very small and having impressions of images I've seen stay with me my whole lifetime. I remember from back then seeing pictures of fish and different animals. We used to have these things you look through back in the day. And
Oh.
yes, I'm that old. But you know, I just know that you're planting the seed, which is so important. And it's
Right.
such a great way to do it because it's not pushing ideas on anyone, it's educating them, it's teaching them,
Yes.
bringing them in gently.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
just want to show some of your merch now for people that might want to get one of these lovely illustrations. There's birds and hoodies
Yeah. They're
and
all related to the books, and to the brand. So there's characters from each of the books. Actually, those two characters there have not been introduced yet because they're from the fourth book. But I wanted to give an introduction of who they're going to be, and I wanted to just include it in, merchandise. So yeah, there's a message in all of them,
what does it
and I
say on the, I'm sorry, what does the shirt
it
say there?
It says, "I am vegan for hope,"
Oh,
and the cow's name is Hope. So it's a double message there in a way. And that character is very well known from the third book. She's a wonderful, compassionate little girl. And so you get to learn more about her in the sequel that I'm working on now with Lana. So yeah.
I have a picture of that. I was going to save it till later,
Yes.
but
Yes.
this
That
is
is it.
awesome. What a
She's
wonderful illustrator.
she's absolutely like she shocks me every time, and I don't know why, because I know she's so brilliant, but yet she sends me something. I'm like, oh my God, like whatever is in my head, she made it 10 times better. And she's just so creative. And I said, just draw you as a little girl, because the girl's supposed to be an artist, a painter. So I said, just
Oh,
draw your personality in her. And so we definitely try to blend both of our our personalities into the characters too.
yeah, it's amazing how you just met your soulmate for,
I know.
writing this book.
She is. She
Yeah.
is. I hope
She's,
to meet her one day. If I'm ever in Sweden, she knows she's the first person
oh,
I'm calling.
well, that's just incredible. I know that you said that some of the profits from the books, you actually use that to help animals. Do you want to talk about that for a moment, and then we'll talk about the
Right.
book?
Right. Yeah, so I've raised money. It's not much, but it's a work in progress. I've These books have only been around 2 years now, since 2020 of September. And that was a difficult time. So it was hard to do any live events or anything like that. We really couldn't. But I've raised funds for Beagle Freedom Project, I Pity the Bull, or yeah, I Pity the Bull. And also SoCal Pitbull Rescue, and just a few others, and even one in Africa. He's an amazing man, and he's working so hard, and he's just trying to build a shelter to keep those animals safe, because they are not safe there. Um, People will either try to kidnap them for the meat trade, or just because. And so he works night and day to just take care of these animals. So I wanted to try to help him as well. So I try to really reach out to great rescues and sanctuaries that are doing the work, and that really deserve the attention and the funds to keep going.
That's fabulous. And
Thank you.
I know you do other types of activism as well. You're very active in the vegan community. I've seen you at events, etc. That's not where it ends for you. It's just the beginning.
Oh,
Um,
thank you.
so, how is it talking to the parents? And what, like, when you do a book reading, what is the reaction that you get from the parents? Do you feel like they sort of get kind of convinced to become vegan, or become vegan curious, so to speak?
I mean, I've had uh it was funny, this one little girl, when I went to San Diego Humane Society and I brought my dog with me. She was very talkative and, you know, not the most well behaved. And she came up to me immediately and she said, "My mom says that dog looks bad or mean."
Mm.
And me and the director of the education department were like, "Oh, we got something to teach you today." And he kind of like looked at me and goes, "Here we go." And at the end of the session, after the reading, she comes up to me and she goes, "It's sad that pit bulls are viewed that way when they're all really like, a lot of them could be like Breezy," which was her name at the time. Before that was when I was fostering her, and now it's Shakira. But she's like, when they're really kind, like Breezy, like she was afraid of her at first, and then an hour later, she didn't want to say goodbye to her. So I'm hoping she went home and told her mother and taught her something and told her, "Hey, this dog was just," and like the whole time I was reading, she's like, "That's mean. I can't believe they do that to these dogs," because I just, at the end, I list out a whole thing that pit bulls go through, how they're banned in certain states and countries. And they just couldn't believe it, because they said, "Oh my God, like imagine if that were us." And I said, if we really want to find peace in this world, I think all beings, living beings, have to be treated equally. And so I think that just kind of registers in their brain, because children are so innocent, and they truly do want to help. Like they're easier to get the message through without any kind of barrier of like, well, you need me to do this. They don't have that concept. they hear, oh, an animal is suffering, but you can be their friend and help them. And that's why I said children's books is where I'm going for, because I just want to plant that seed, like you said, and hopefully we just have a more compassionate future, just with little things like that.
That kind of supports my theory that we're all born vegan. It's so
Right,
easy to
right.
show them, and they're like, "Oh yeah, of course I shouldn't be eating animals." But once
Yeah.
it's ingrained later on, it's much harder to break out of that.
I
So
I know that I know somebody that their parents just like grill meat into them, and they like, oh, I eat beef. If they just knew that the beef was this cow, and then they actually had a connection with the cow, and then they knew what happened with the cow, those kids would never eat beef again. And it's just like, if they can learn these subtle messages without really disturbing them, because I know it's real, all of it is horrible to hear, but if they can hear it in a way that is kid friendly, then so be it. And I think,
So how do you do that? Do you just keep it more general when you don't, obviously can't go into detail, but do you kind of just, the poetry helps soften it a little bit?
yes, yes, it does. And it depends on the age group. If it's an older group, I mean, I've read for 12-year-olds, I think was the oldest. There might have even been a few 14-year-olds in there. It's easier to communicate with them and kind of just, you know, say some stuff that is harder to hear because they can take it more. But when it comes to, yeah, like the 6-year-olds, the 8-year-olds, I just remember telling my cousins, I said, these animals that get tested on, and they love one of my pit bulls, Giselle. They're like Giselle, and they even use pit bulls. They use all different kinds of animals, and they do mean things to them, and they put them in a cage, and then that's it. They never see the sunshine, and da-da. All they have to do is hear that. And then I said, but you have ways that you can support the compassionate, choices. You can make sure you don't support this industry, and this is how. And so I quickly like switch it and make it positive for them, so that they
That's
feel like they can do their part in an easy way.
that's awesome. I know a lot of younger people, preteen, teens, have convinced their parents to become
They
vegan.
have, yeah. Yeah. So I have one review on Amazon. The mom was really sweet. I never met her before or anything like that. And she said that we just recently adopted a beagle survivor. So this is my daughter's favorite book. And with the help of this book and the app, we really try to shop cruelty free as best as we can. So it's just really exciting to hear stuff like that. Of course, I have had like negative kind of energy. I remember at a book signing, the child really like she went up to her father, who didn't get to hear any of the reading, but he came in to pick her up, and she's like, Dad, I really want this book. I want this book. And he's like, kind of, what is it? Like,
Mm.
and he just he looked at it, kind of like went through the pages, and then he said, I have to go find my daughter. And then he like hid over there in the corner until she came to him. And I'm just like, well, that was like the worst maybe, but he didn't even
That's
give
the
it a
worst.
chance. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I really haven't had too much. I think there was like maybe one negative review about the third book that I read on Goodreads, and it wasn't anything at all that I was trying to say in the message, but they turned it into their own thing because they're probably anti pit bull bully breeds. So, they had their own agenda while they were writing that review, and that's going to happen, but that's okay.
Yeah.
The
We
right
have
the right people will listen.
exactly. We have
Yeah.
a little video of you doing a book read. I see a
So
few
cute.
familiar faces in that one.
Absolutely. They came out to support. That turned out to be like an all adult book reading, and they all enjoyed it. There was no kids there, but they're like, this is, oh my God, this book is, it's great.
I could see
And
that. I could see
it's very,
adults reading the book and
yeah, it's
sharing
very
it with people.
encouraging.
I
Yeah.
think
And
that's a great way to introduce a friend that has children to
right.
veganism.
Right. Yeah. A few familiar faces that they all bought the book for kids that they know in their life.
Oh,
So
that's awesome.
that was really beautiful to see them do that and spread the message and support.
Tell us a little bit how each book relates to the books sort of, you follow the characters through in some of them. Is that correct?
Well, the third book is now connected to the fourth, which will come out early next year. And then the fourth book will then connect to the fifth. So as far as the first two go, they're not related at all, but they're all to do with issues that go on in animal cruelty and how
Right. So the one that's
they're
related is which one that's going to continue?
So Labrador Retriever with the Blockhead is
Mhm.
the third book, is now a sequel to I'm sorry, the fourth book is a sequel to that one, and that's called Liberty and the Mighty Misfits. And that one I'm really excited about. So the third book is about that homeless pit bull. The night after Halloween, she finds a mask in a dumpster in her alley where she sleeps. And she puts the mask on because it's a face of a well-liked dog. She doesn't know the dog's breed, but she just has seen it with its family by the lake and very, happy. And it happens to be a Labrador Retriever. So she puts it on and she goes through all these different obstacles of getting adopted with it. And then the mask comes off and the family, return it back to the pound. And she just goes through all of this. And I mean, I'm kind of spoiling it, but they all have happy endings. It's always just and fair. That's why the name of my brand. So at the end, she finds a family that doesn't judge her at all. They just pick up on her energy and they just know she's great. And that little girl, Jane, that's posing with the cow, she's the girl who rescues her. And she basically ends up in a pit bull sanctuary where there's special needs pit bulls. And it's this beautiful fairy tale ranch kind of house that she now lives in. So you're going to learn a little bit or get to see her life now a couple years later and how she's adjusted to her family. And she meets two friends along the way. One happens to be a pig that was rescued from slaughter, and the other one is a paraplegic dog. And they form an unlikely friendship, and they have a very heroic scene at the end, proving that they are worthy, just like all other animals and all other breeds. And so
I just love it.
Thank you so much. And that book is definitely an introduction to veganism, because the very amazing woman who's in it, almost like her Jane's mentor. She's a 70-year-old vegan woman who you would never think she's 70 because she's in incredible shape. So she's actually the person who rescued the pig and the paraplegic dog. And it's a very heartfelt story. And I just can't wait to bring it out into the world so you guys can read it.
I'm excited. If someone could only get one book right now, I know this is a really tough question, but assuming they had to pick one, how would you lead them through that?
Which book to pick?
Yeah.
Okay. No. I mean that it's funny because I have all different kinds of people writing me that one just touched their heart, more than the other. I feel like if your family or yourself, or I have had adults that bought the book, Adventure at Rainbow Bridge, it doesn't even necessarily have to be about a pet. During the time of writing my book, I lost my mother suddenly. And there was almost, thank you. There was almost a time where I was like, do I take a break? And Lana was super understanding and compassionate. She said, we can take a break. I said, no, this will keep me going and it'll be a good distraction. So it helped me with the loss of my mom. So if you just recently lost someone and you need a good pick-me-up story and an escape into a heavenly type of world, because it's very there's portals and secret passageways that they need to go through, and it's just like this amazing idea of heaven, pet heaven. So That would be a great book if you'd like to, read that during the holidays to make you feel a little bit more warm and fuzzy inside.
Yeah.
Cruelty Free is a way to be. I feel like that's a great book if you're just trying to find easier ways to live a more compassionate lifestyle and you're on that journey, because I know it's a journey, you know. There's probably
Yes.
products in your house that are tested on animals, and that's okay. You can't beat yourself up, but it's a growing process. And if you just need a little bit more guidance, especially if you do have children in your life, nieces, nephews, grandchildren, whatever that may be, I think that's a great book for that. And Labrador Retriever with the Blockhead, maybe you or a child or anyone is struggling with a little self-acceptance and maybe just feeling like you yourself are a little too judgmental, or you have a bully breed that is your world and you just feel like this dog is discriminated against far too much and you just want to hear a story that you can relate to. That I feel like that book is used the most during my readings because there's so many messages in that one. So it just kind of depends what you're looking for, but there is a positive message for everyone, especially if you're an lover of animals. Um, Depends what you want. Yeah.
That's great. Well, I think you really broke it down for us, and it
Thank
makes a
you.
lot of sense. We are just, believe it or not, we are just about out of time. And I just wanted to give you the floor for a little bit to talk about anything that you would like to cover that we haven't yet covered.
I think just like talking just a little bit about the future of the brand. I'm trying to expand it and to grow it as much as possible. My goal for the new year is to approach more pet loss groups. And if you know of any, or if you're part of any, you can email me at the address listed. I just really want to take advantage of the first book as much as possible. Because I feel like the other two are really the ones that I do most of my visits with. So I really want to use that first one a little bit more. It's right now it's at the Los Angeles Pet Cemetery in Calabasas, California. So that's on the table for people who are going through that horrible time. They just want to pick up a book that will make them smile, maybe. So I want to do more with that, but I'm expanding it with merchandise. And I actually have the bag
Yeah.
here. So it says, behind an industry of beauty lies an ugly truth. And my illustrator, Lana, she did a wonderful job on it. The rabbit has a tattoo, and I love the whole lipstick thing. We discussed this idea together, and she just did such a great job. So this is my makeup bag filled with cruelty-free makeup.
I love
And
that.
you know what I love about this? It's one of those sequence bags. So you can have it like this, and it's almost like you're exposing the truth. So that's why I picked
Oh,
this. So yeah, this is
oh,
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, so that's just one of the products available in my storefront. And just to be on the lookout for any new books that are coming out. I'm just going to keep going, fourth, fifth. And if you have a child in a school that you feel like, hey, this might be a good thing for the school to have this event. I'd love to do book signings and readings. You can always contact me or have the school contact me, or any summer camps. I go to a lot of animal shelter summer camps and fall camps, winter camps, all that. So if this is something that you feel like would be great for your child or anyone that you know in your life that is a child, then please feel free to contact me. I'd love to visit. I do stuff out of the states as well. I just got back from Catskills Animal Sanctuary. I did a reading there with one of their cows, or actually he was a boy. I forget what, a steer, Rudy. And I did a reading with him, and I read Cruelty Free is the Way to Be to help viewers, shop cruelty free for the holidays. So I just love it so much, and I would love to do it for you and your loved ones if possible.
Oh, that's such an amazing job that you have there. You really
Thank you.
found your niche, and I think it's amazing.
Thank you.
I'm just so happy to have you on. I'm having people coming on saying have her back on for more
Thank you.
segments. And then
Thank
Tom
you.
also said the middle age for vegans is 78, and I agree with that.
It
So
is.
we're
It
still
is.
learning, all of us.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. I feel like any vegan, oh my God, especially they've been vegan a long time, they look amazing. So I know a few myself that they're inspirational to me. So that's why I wanted to incorporate that character and show the world, especially non-vegans reading the book, that hey, veganism looks good too.
Yeah. So anywhere we can get them, right?
Yes, right. Anywhere without saying go vegan, be vegan now. It's a way to do it in a way that will maybe touch their souls a little bit more. So,
Well, I would love to have you come back,
oh, I'd
as
love to come
Tom
back.
said,
Yeah,
when your new books come out, and
absolutely. Yeah.
bring them to us. Tell us about them. We'd love to hear more. This is
Thank
such
you.
an inspiring message at a time when we all really need to be inspired and uplifted.
Right.
And you are doing, I have to say, you are doing an amazing job.
Thank
And
you.
I love the whole concept. It's just great. And I think you're an inspiration to other vegans that want to use their creativity, whatever it might be. You
Right.
can find a way
Right.
to incorporate it.
Yeah.
It's fabulous.
I definitely have helped children that, they want to help animals, but they said, I can't be a veterinarian. And I was one of those. Like, I can't deal with blood or those final moments. So I said, well, if you're a creative type, and I met a lot of aspiring authors and illustrators. And I said, if you love animals, then this is your path and please follow it. And I can just tell it, light bulbs go on and all that in their brains.
You
But also,
inspired me, I have to
oh,
tell you.
thank you. Thank you so much, Lindsay. I love what you're doing as well.
Well, thank
Um,
you.
but yeah, you can also follow me for more updates and links to my books and the merchandise on Always Fair Books on Instagram. And it's
And we'll
just
put that
the
link
brand.
at the top.
Yeah,
That link in your email will be at the top of this post for everyone, just so they know,
perfect.
right after the broadcast. You
Perfect.
can find it. Now, one more question
Sure.
about the merchandise. How do you
Yes.
get to your storefront?
My storefront, there's just a website called Customized Girl that I've been ordering personal gifts from for years. And anybody can make a storefront, a nonprofit for personal use or for your own business, small business. And you could just make a storefront and come up with I put Always Fair Books, and you just have a whole, you can pick selections of stuff. They have coffee mugs and hats and pillowcases and all that. And they basically do all the shipping for you. And then I just get a small percentage, but it's more about getting the message out there and marketing the brand. And just if you want to really support these powerful messages too and rock them, that's what it's about. So one of my doggies came. Come here.
Oh, is there a link to that we can upload so people can get there easily?
Yes, yeah. If you follow me on Instagram, if you go on my bio, I have a link tree, and so I have a link tree of, you can buy my book Target, Amazon, Walmart, all that, and then on the very bottom it says Always Fair Books storefront. You just click on that; it takes you directly to it. You don't have to sign in to order my books or order any merchandise or make an account. You could just sign out as guest, and and you can buy the merchandise that way.
That's great. And we will put the link directly to the storefront as well.
Okay. Wonderful.
So thank you so much for
Thank you.
being on. We've gone through our 45 minutes. We went through it in a flash because
We
it's such
did.
an interesting topic.
Thank you so much, Lindsay, for having me on. I really appreciate it.
And thank you everyone for watching. We'll be
Yes,
back
thank you
next
so
week.
much.
Be sure to follow Sabrina and buy her books.
Yes, please do.
And her merch.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye. Take care.